y'all, it is thrift flip time. I am back here today to show you guys what I have done with several of the pieces from my thrift haul. I will link that video in the description if you want to see all of the items. I'm going to show you several of the items that I was able to make over for this video. Just take you through step by step what I did to achieve the final looks. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I have decided to do the two baskets that I've picked up. Also a basket that I have here at my house that I've been neglecting to make over and to make it new again. It's pretty beat up, so I thought I'd throw that in there as well. And then as well as the two candlesticks and bowls that I had found, turning those into a new piece too. So let's start with the baskets. To begin any of these projects, I took off all of the stickers and gave them a good cleaning. For the first basket, the medium-sized basket, it is unraveling a bit on the handle, so I'm just going to add some glue to put that back in place to make sure it doesn't unravel any further and it has no other further issues. But other than that, this basket is in great condition and absolutely beautiful. The smaller basket, the red one, it just needs a good cleaning before we give it a spray coat. And the big basket, it needs a lot of work because it has been beaten and banged up over time. So I'm going to be gluing it and just kind of putting everything back together to make sure it's nice and secure. And then also snipping off those big handles. One's completely broken already. The other one is ready to snap at any time. So I'm just going to use my wire cutters to just cut through that wood and pull those out. Luckily, they weren't completely woven in. They were just kind of stuck in there and then cross-woven just at the top. So I was able to pull those out without ruining the integrity of the basket at all. And then after it was done, just giving them a good cleaning and getting them all ready, I was ready to move on with the next step. So with the small red basket and the big basket, I took both of those outside and I spray painted them white. I, of course, used my Rust-Oleum 2X because it is a paint and a primer all in one. I used it in flat. Actually, I think I did use a semi-gloss for a part of it just because I had like a fourth of a can left and wanted to just go ahead and use it up. And then for all of the rest of the coats, I did the flat. I think I did 3 coats on each, possibly 4 on the big one just because there's so much area and I wanted to make sure I covered it thoroughly. And so as those were drying, I came back inside and I worked on the medium-sized basket. And with this one, I love the shape. I love the way it looks. All I wanted to do is refreshen the color just a little bit. And I did that with my walnut colored stain. And I just stained the entire thing. So with this, it's kind of a tedious task, but I believe it's completely worth it. You want to be careful that you don't put too much stain in because it can run straight through the basket to the other side and kind of get messy. I did have that happen in a couple areas, but for the most part, I was able to control it pretty well. I do it in sections, so I just take a really rough like chip brush, brushed it on there, and then when I was done with that section and let it soak in just a little, however long you want to. The longer you let it sit on there, the darker it will become because it will soak all of it in. So I let it soak in for a minute or two and then I wiped it off and then I'd move to the next section and I just kept doing that throughout the entire basket, front, sides, bottom, inside the basket because I wanted to have an overall look just so it all flowed together. And I just love the color tones and the, some areas where it'll like take a little differently over here, won't take as much over here, and so it gives it nice dimension. It's just beautiful. So I'm very pleased with this and how it turned out. I love how the other 2 baskets came with just the white spray paint. So with the big basket, white spray paint, left it alone. The medium basket, I did the stain and I left it alone. And then with the little red basket, I did not like the color of the red because the whole basket was red. Like I just didn't like it. But after I put the white on, I thought it would be really cute if I distress it back down and let some of that red come through. I'm very glad I made this decision because I think it gave it a little bit of dimension. And it's super cute now with that slight pop of color coming through, and it's a perfect little basket. I mean, it can be for all year round, but I think for the fall and Christmas, adorable. So I took all 3 of the baskets and I gave them a good clear coat with the Rust-Oleum 2X clear matte. and just set everything in. I set the stain in to make sure that there's nothing, it's an oil-based stain, so no like oily feelings on it, nothing, you know, is gonna rub off or be damaged in any way. With the spray paint, make sure it's not gonna get scratched off easily or anything. So I just gave them all a really nice coat of that clear matte and went ahead and staged them for the pictures. So I'm gonna show you, give you a little glimpse of what they're looking like, and then we're gonna move on with the next project. Okay, so with this, I am wanting to take this candlestick and put this large bowl on top of it, as well with the small candlestick and the small bowl. I want to attach all of them together to make cute little centerpieces, or even just like shelf pieces to where you can put, you know, like ball decorations in there, like the woven balls and that kind of thing, or florals, or you know, the small one, change or keys or whatever, just grab and go. I mean, really, honestly, whatever you want with them. They're super cute. So I wanted to make some of these myself. So to begin, the first thing I did was to create a base for the smaller one. So on this candlestick, there's not really a bottom to it. And if I attached the bowl to the top, I was afraid it would be too top heavy and it would just topple over. So I have some of these just small wooden rounds, coasters possibly, just like little wooden circles. I took 3 of them because they're pretty thin. I put a good layer of Gorilla Wood glue in between each, and I tried to line them up the best I can, and then I clamped them together and left them for 24 hours. Basically all I'm doing is making myself a piece of wood, one complete piece of wood, that way I can attach it as a base to give it some leniency so it doesn't just topple over. So while that was drying, I worked on go ahead and clean, you know, I had to clean them up and then start painting them. I was really unsure on this big bowl if I wanted to keep that color or if I wanted to paint it. And I kind of went back and forth on what I wanted to do because I think it's pretty, but it was also a little bit too like burnt orangey for what I wanted. So I did try to first wax it with just Waverly wax, but the wax just wouldn't take to it because it was it's very slick and like, I don't know. And I didn't want to sand it too much because I wasn't sure what my, really what my vision was for it. So I didn't want to completely ruin it. So I just wiped all of the wax back off of it and slept on it and just decided to take a moment, step back from it to decide what I wanted to do. So then the next day I decided I was going to paint it because I just wasn't loving the color that it was. So I have some of the Waverly chalk paint in truffle, and that matches the color of the candlestick that it is originally pretty well. So I figured after I painted it up, it would match a lot better. So I painted the big bowl with the truffle, and I painted the small bowl with the white chalk paint. I also painted both candlesticks with the white chalk paint. I decided not to go ahead and fully assemble these just yet because one, the big one, I'm going to leave it two-toned. I was going to leave the bowl that color and then the candlestick the white. And then with the other one, it was all going to be white, but since I was already painting, I went ahead and just painted it up anyway. So with the smaller candlestick, I was noticing I was having some bleed through. So I knew that was something I was going to have to deal with, but I decided because I wanted that whole piece to look cohesive, I'd wait to address that until after I have attached the two pieces. So once I painted up the big bowl, once it was done and painted and I knew it was at its complete stage, I went ahead and sealed it with my Rust-Oleum clear coat. And then once I was done with the two candlesticks, I went ahead and distressed the big one because I wanted that brown on that big candlestick that matches the bowl to kind of tie the whole piece together to show through. And with the little one, I left it as is. And I gave all of them a coat of the clear coat. Now, I have watched other people's videos and been told that if you have a bleed through, you can use a clear coat to cover it and then be able to paint over it, and it would work for you to seal that stain in, and then you can paint over it and it will go away. I will say that did not work for me. Even though I coated it really good with the clear coat and did like two coats of the white chalk paint over those spots afterwards, it just kept coming back. So I do happen to have a bottle of some spray shellac here. So I went ahead and took that and sprayed it on because a lot of people say that's their go-to and won't have any problems. So after I used E6000, and I used that to attach both the candlesticks to their bowls and the base of the other one to it. And I let that sit completely overnight for 24 hours. And then once it was ready, I let it sit and I put something heavy right on top of it so that it would nice and push it down and hold it together, so I knew it would be nice and firm with a good seal. And then I took that shellac and I sprayed the entire thing of the small candlestick that was having the bleed through, because I was scared if I only sprayed it in one spot that it might look different in that area than the rest of it. So I just sprayed the whole thing just to be safe. And then I went back and I think I did 2 coats of the white chalk paint, and it was completely gone and you can't see it anymore. So I'm sure if it's not a strong stain that just doing the clear would work, because I know I've watched other people do that and they haven't had an issue, but this was pretty strong and just coming through really strong, so I did have to use the shellac. So if you have any issues with something like that, that would be my suggestion for you to give it a try. So after I was done painting these and distressing them and getting them all together, I love how they turned out. I gave both of them a really good clear coat over the entire thing. Again, I'm just doing this because I plan on turning around and selling these, and I don't want them to, scratch up easy. I want that chalky feeling to be gone. If you use chalk paint, you do have to seal it, whether it's with wax or a clear coat or whatever. So I decided to go with my spray for those, but I adore them. I think they turned out better than what I had pictured in my head, so I'm very excited about them. I'm so grateful that you guys came back to see me again today. If you want to give me a thumbs up if you like this type of content, let me know. If you are new here, subscribe to my channel, see what we have coming up next, and I will take you guys in for a closer look. I do plan on doing the remainder of the items from that thrift haul next Friday, so just watch for that video. All right, I'll see you next time.